Welcome back. Now Islamic leader Keysar Trad under fire over controversial comments he made about domestic violence against women being a last resort for men. Not surprisingly, the Muslim community and domestic violence advocates have been outraged, and today he's been forced to backtrack.
Before you even consider using your hand, before you consider any act of violence, have you checked box number 1, which is counselling? Have you checked box number 2? What does counselling entail? Well, maybe next time you should bring her a bunch of flowers. Maybe next time you should bring her a box of chocolates. Maybe next time you should take her out on a dinner.
If she still won't see sense, beat her. That's what this says.
Well,
beat them. I'm reading the Quran.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you is a good person would never get to that step, because the first step would eliminate the problem. What this verse is saying really is playing on the psychology of the man, saying violence is a last resort. The first thing that
Did he really just say that?
Violence is a last resort. The first thing that you must...
Absurd. Never, ever an excuse. Never, ever. No.
Violence is never acceptable against women.
I did not intend to say anything of that nature, and I don't believe that I said anything of that nature.
Keysar Trad, president of the Australian Federation of Islamic Councils, went on television last night to talk about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. He ended up talking about a conflict a lot closer to home.
Before you even consider using your hand, before you consider any act of violence, have you checked box number 1, which is counselling? Have you checked box number 2? What does counselling entail? Well, maybe next time you should bring her a bunch of flowers. Maybe next time you should bring her a box of chocolates. Maybe next time you should take her out on a dinner.
If she still won't see sense, beat her. That's what this says.
Well,
beat them. I'm reading the Quran.
I understand what you're saying, but what I'm saying to you is a good person would never get to that step, because the first step would eliminate the problem. That when you sit down and
that was last night. Today, Keysar Trad was on the back foot and apologetic.
Even though it's mentioned in the verse as a last resort, it's really a last resort that you never get to.
So let's be clear, you don't condone beating your wife?
I do not condone any violence against your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother.
So you would never hit your wife, and you would never encourage another Muslim man to hit his wife?
That's right. Not just any Muslim. I would not encourage any person. In fact, I condemn any violence against women. You should always honour your wife and honour your daughters, honour your sisters, honour your mother, and treat them with the utmost of respect and show them the greatest love.
Muslim women are more and more becoming the subject of attacks in a range of different places, whether that's in media, whether that's on the streets.
Moo Balch is the CEO of Domestic Violence New South Wales, and she's been working in partnership with the Muslim Women's Association for decades.
We really need to start talking to our Muslim women about what it is that they want, what they see as the key issues. Talk to them about anti-violence initiatives within communities, within families, because there are some really strong things happening that we don't hear about.
Keysar has always been one of the country's most senior and most outspoken Muslim representatives, and is always caught in controversy. The last time a current affair sat down with Keysar, it was to have a halal meal with his family, including his 2 daughters, Hella, a philosopher and teacher, and engineering student, Isla. At the time, he was advocating polygamy, saying he'd welcome a second wife.
If the situation arises, I'm willing to make the sacrifice. I'm willing to...
I'll make the sacrifice!
His daughters didn't want a bar of it.
If your dad came home with another wife, would that be okay with you?
I'd have to
find just be in his dreams.
What do your girls make of this situation?
My daughters have become used to me being a punching bag from time to time, and I make this sacrifice in the hope of promoting understanding in society.
He's hoping that one positive can be gained from the headlines today, and that's shining the spotlight on domestic violence.
The Muslim women and men that we work with in communities are interested in building peace, working in partnership. The only way we're really going to effectively tackle this is if we do this in partnership.
A Muslim leader has sparked outrage for suggesting Islam condones domestic violence as a last resort when a man is angry with his wife. Keysar Trad later apologised for what he called a clumsy attempt to explain a verse in the Quran.
It's
this verse of the Quran that raised eyebrows.
It is permissible for him to beat her lightly with his hands.
But it's this response of a senior Muslim leader that caused outrage.
Before you even consider using your hand, before you consider any act of violence, have you checked box number 1, which is counselling? Have you checked box number 2?
I have one very clear message for Mr Trad and anybody who holds those views. They are completely, totally and utterly unacceptable.
And it's not just federal ministers who disagree with Keysar Trad's views. In 2009, Trad took legal action against radio giants 2GB and lost. Justice McQuillan stating in the Supreme Court, there is little doubt that many of Mr Trad's comments are offensive to Jewish persons and homosexuals. Justice McQuillan further adding, many of his remarks are disrespectful and appear to condone violence.
What the Court of Appeal said is that my views are okay with right-thinking Australians.
He has apologised, but the question put to Keysar Trad today was simple. Is he still fit to lead the Islamic Council?
Look, whether I'm fit or not is up to the members to decide.
I'm very pleased that he's apologised because there's only one-size-fits-all answer to that question, and that is that domestic violence in Australia or anywhere is unacceptable.
Peter Fegan, 7 News.